Playoff baseball has started, and yet here we are talking about football with a riveting Thursday night matchup of the Commanders and the Bears. I, I can't even make a joke. I think the game is just the joke. But once we get past that, there'll be plenty of good things to look forward to. Tell you all about them. Here are your hosts, Bird and Berg. What's up, boys?
How we doing?
We are up 2-0 in this Phillies, at least 2-0, and that is why I took this occasion to wear my Phillies
Yeah, that's
shirt.
a great shirt you're wearing, Adam. Would you mind telling us who you're wearing?
I'm wearing the hog himself, Reese Hoskins.
That's right.
Too bad I can't see it. So
well, you can see it there.
There it is.
I have that, and I have my Dan Dalton one. Dan it's actually kind of funny because this is definitely one of those me type of situations when it comes to any sort of MLB players.
Or you hate them, yet you own their shirt.
Yeah, pretty much whenever
I'm hate watching Aaron Nola right now. So
yeah, like that's the same thing. It's like me. Reese Hoskins should be off the team. Also me, guys. I wore my Reese Hoskins T-shirt.
I have a Hoskins jersey. It was the last one I bought at the stadium a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah. Usually I get it from China, but it was the first one. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get this at the stadium, and it's just Hoskins.
I just want to say because I know we probably don't want to talk about baseball too much, but at some point, people are going to remember what Reese Hoskins did for this era of the team, even when he's not on it next year. And you're going to look back and be like, he was actually really important.
Yes, I mean, just like James Harden.
Okay, I don't know her. Stop! Don't bring up
that was
basketball
such a
tonight,
good
please.
tweet. If you guys are listening, Dan had an incredible quote tweet. That just used a Mariah Carey gift very, very well about James Harden just showing up. You know, us showed up to work. Jonathan Taylor showed up to work like it was no problem either.
Wait, really? Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's playing this week.
He's playing this week?
I think so.
Wow.
He's practicing. To the Reese Hoskins point, I mean, you guys, that was the Pete Mackinnon year where they were just kind of like the most boring team in baseball, and they called him up in August. The dude hit 21 home runs in 20 days.
10 seconds.
Especially with all the issues with my brain and everything for several reasons, there's not many times that I specifically remember where I was when something happened. But I remember where I was for several Reese Hoskins homers in his first season. Like I remember being at Del Rossi's on Spring Garden in Philly ordering food, and they had the game on, and like us just going nuts when he hit his 12th in 13 days. Like there's just some special things like that. As JT goes yard, let's go. Anyway,
did you really?
Yeah.
Did JT just go? You called that. You called that. Yeah. It's a shame that
I won't bet him because I hate him.
Well, I mean, look, he ran around those bases faster than he ran from the vaccine. So, it's just the second straight week, by the way, that we've been able to make a joke about a player who's anti-COVID.
I mean, I said minus 200. We can do it again next week.
I think we'll find a way. We'll make a Josh Allen prop. It'll be great.
Not gonna lie, I did actually take Real Muto RBI though. So let's go.
You also bet 6 out of the 9 guys.
Yeah. So far, every at bat, you've been like, I took that. I took that.
I took
like 5 doubles probably.
Yeah.
But,
all right. Let's talk football, boys.
Look. So speaking of things that are banned.
That's good. That's good segment.
The transition was so good he couldn't even finish it.
I know.
He's so proud of himself. He's like, yeah, I got it.
All right, guys. So let's go around. Birdman, who is someone from a betting perspective, and just maybe even a likability perspective, who's on your banned bad list right now for the rest of the season? You will not touch this person or team.
Well, I don't believe in that, but for the sake of the show,
he's not staying off of anybody.
For the sake of the bit, you're so good at improv.
Yeah. I'll say it. At this point, like I just can't really invest anything in this Giants offense. There's just so many things wrong with it, and with bad O-line play, there's just nothing really that appealing to it. Especially even this week with a good matchup against the Dolphins defense, who showed tons of holes last week. So. I just don't want to invest in anything Giants. I just can't. Plus, they suck. So,
You know how Andrew Thomas got hurt. You know how he got hurt. What play he got hurt on?
No.
Their version of the tush push.
Oh, was that?
Which went 0 for 3 this past week.
0 for 3 this past week.
Unless it was
so.
Us.
Haters bathing in.
Get a bigger D line and get a bigger.
Get a stronger quarterback.
That too. Yeah, like stop us with a bigger D line or get a quarterback that squats 600 pounds.
Well, you can't do that. That's awesome.
I agree. For me, it's it's Darren Waller. It's enough chances at this point. I'm probably not going to touch him for a while. Dan, what about you?
So last week I went way too in on Jamar Chase, and the matchup was pristine, and we're going to get to that later, it looks like. But here's the thing. I should have seen 82.5 as his number and probably realized that they were also accommodating for the matchup, and that's definitely on me. His receptions did hit, so it's not like he had a bad game, but went a little overboard. I kind of learned from week 1 to not do that, and I thought now that we were in week 4 and there was more data, it was the time to maybe strike, and I was wrong. It happens. But what's shocking to me, which Birdman actually posted in our Discord today, is that the Bengals are tied with the Giants for being the worst team in yards per play, and they are the worst team in net yards per play. So they are just absolutely brutal right now. And so even if I wanted to think, oh well, if he didn't get right last week, maybe this is the week. No, now I'm not touching him until I actually see him do it, and then maybe I'll hope that he's got to go forward. But I'm no longer looking to bet on the bounce back for anyone on that team.
He hasn't even scored yet either.
What if?
That's what I thought last week.
What if they switch quarterbacks?
Jake Browning.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna do it either.
That's encouraging.
You don't think that's not gonna help your Jamar Chase stop?
I mean, it'll probably lower his numbers, so maybe that's the time to look. But I don't know.
I mean, they went up against the Titans, the epitome of pass funnel defenses, and put up 3 points.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at this week, I mean, they were what 7.5, 8.5 look ahead in this game, and it's 3. It's disgusting.
And it's sickening them thinking about Arizona since they're at home and they've been spicy.
One of the bets I have might be on the Cardinals. We'll see.
Do you have a what about Bengals first half, Cardinals close?
Oh, the double result? Yeah. I
could be into that.
I actually like the reverse.
That could be fun.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't take it from you then.
But yeah, I mean, I'll go right into some future markets. Here. So, Berg, what future market do you think is the most fun to bet mid-season?
Make miss playoffs, because that could change so dramatically based on if a team is playing. I pay a lot of attention to if a team is playing someone within their division, because it drastically changes their playoff odds, especially because divisions could supply multiple teams if there's a lot of good guys in the division. It's a weak conference, or it could jump them and just change their odds and cut it in half to win the division, thus getting in the playoffs. So I have a lot of fun with that. I took the Rams a couple weeks ago at a little more than 3-1 to make the playoffs, and that was kind of based on the fact that I looked at everything that was open, how open the NFC was, and I'm like, well, who's the best 9-8 team? So that's that's a fun market that I love to play in.
One thing I will say. Well, one thing I will say on that is, what I was looking at was the Vikings, which is disgusting, but they've been extremely unlucky and everything. But they finally got their first win last week. But I was just looking at you try to pick out 7 teams, and you get your 4 division winners, which I don't think the Vikings win the division. Then you carve out the Cowboys and probably the Seahawks. Or maybe it is the Rams, one of those two, and there's still a spot left. So that spot could be the Rams as the 3rd team in that division, could be the Vikings. Outside of those 2 teams, a lot of the other teams don't really look that great. But how about you, Dan?
The other thing with it is that I don't think the Vikings have played how many division games have the Vikings played?
Just versus the Lions, right?
Right.
Did they play the Lions or no?
I don't know if they have.
They played the Eagles, the Bucks.
Eagles, the Bucks,
and the Panthers.
And the Chargers.
And the Chargers. Yeah, they haven't played a division game yet.
So a reasonable bet, just saying,
Vikings division,
is to take them to win the division, because they have yet to do that. What if they sweep the division? What if they get their act together and sweep the division?
Well, we have Vikings division stuff. So
I know we do, but listeners may not. I'm just saying in the mode of thinking about it, of you think about the teams.
Amon-Ra's on the.
I already like them more. I don't buy the Seahawks hype. They've played garbage. They look fine. I don't hate it, but people are all of a sudden they're 3-1, they're a contender. No, they're not.
Not a contender, but I would like that their chances to make the playoffs more than like a third team in the NFC South or.
Sure. No, I'm just talking about
the
general
Giants or
perception. I
Commanders.
saw a lot of Seahawks hype after beating up the Giants, who are the worst team in football, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't take a lot into that Seahawks win as much as it was like, this is a team that didn't show up and do anything.
Absolutely.
It means more that it was their third win than it was a win against the Giants.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yes.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about it, offline and stuff, but I'm really enjoying last year and this year betting rookie markets for like offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, stuff like that. You guys are very numbers driven, and you've taught me a lot about that, and I hope that we're educating people and stuff like that. But I'm very still much an eye test guy. I watch a lot of football. Like I watch games on Monday that I didn't get to see a lot of, stuff like that, and like that's where like I still drive a lot of what I like from, and I feel like rookie markets especially can be very rewarding for the eye test stuff, because unless you have some like number one overall pick quarterback who's just gonna dominate the market, like none of these guys usually put up insane numbers. So a lot of it is like, what have they done? What have you seen? Have there been a lot of plus plays? Have they made some incredible plays and stuff like that? And it's very volatile. So the odds are usually pretty long that you can get a lot of guys and still be profitable. And it's just kind of like cool, watch a guy the first couple of weeks and be like, he looks like a real guy, and get in on that, and then see him kind of come along, because that's what rookies do. They get better incrementally every week, a lot more than you see most proven players, because every week they're learning a little more, getting a little more comfortable. They end up getting more snaps, more playing time, more opportunities. So I'm really enjoying that. And on that note, it's a shame that Christian Gonzalez is out for the season, because he was a rookie that I really liked and thought that was going to be a fun future to play. But
Oregon Ducks Nation legend,
Christian Gonzalez.
Unfortunately, I have to talk about the Oregon Ducks.
I mean, yeah, I was excited for him. He was doing a good job against number one receivers. I know Tyreek Hill still did his thing, but as a rookie, like.
But second half he was relatively held in check. Like he did
They only put up like 27, where when they put up 35, 70, and whatever. It's like
they also adjusted at halftime in that game, which is exactly what like a defense is supposed to do. Like the Dolphins were not good.
Of course, a Bill Belichick defense did that, right, Berg?
Yeah, no. Me and Berg are both on the Bills wash train, so we're the conductors of the Bills wash train. But they ruled him out for the season, unfortunately. But no, I definitely agree with you. It is good, especially like you said, defensively. Eye test is one thing, but Christian Gonzalez, he might not have 5 picks, but if he's guarding number one receivers every week,
and it's a difficult position. That's a very positional based award, which is why a lot of quarterbacks win it, but cornerback's probably the toughest position for a rookie to come in and play.
Yeah, my favorite future market is probably. Just award markets in general, but probably MVP. Probably MVP though for me. Like I don't usually take, I took maybe 1 or 2 preseason, like a long shot or something. But you get to pick off. Like last week, we even actually said it on the show. What
a great call.
Yeah, we were like, hey, if
the
Bills win this game,
clear.
Josh Allen's odds are going to tank. So if you think he has a chance, you take him, and they have been a good regular season team. So. What happened? They won by 28, and now he's up there as one of the favorites. But the MVP one's kind of fun because you can pick off in those high leverage games, and kind of try to get some value there.
Do we have an idea what the shift was on?
It was like
either Bill's Super Bowl or Josh Allen MVP.
It was like
more than that. It was like 10-1 to like 4 or 5 or like 5.
It went to 4-1. Oh, see that?
I don't know.
Are you talking about MVP or Super Bowl?
MVP.
Okay.
MVP. I actually did take both.
They were both the same though, which is what's funny. They were both 10-1. Maybe I'm talking about the Super Bowl. You're right.
Yeah, I was talking about Allen MVP the whole time, but I don't know if it.
Let me look because I did that too, and then it was. I'm looking it up right now. Oh yeah, dude, he's overwhelmingly the favorite. He's 3-1
for what? For MVP?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I think is that's a bit of an overreaction, to be honest.
But whatever. But that's why we
whatever. We have a great number.
That's what we said would happen.
Right.
We said that was going to happen. We literally said that was going to happen. We said take them right now because this is going to change. And like I think this week, if you're looking at games where something could happen,
you bet Kirk Cousins.
You also have to account for the fact that Mahomes hasn't looked great, Hurts hasn't looked great, so there's a reason he's up there. It's not just that he played well and upset a team that was the hottest team in football at that point. But it's the fact that everybody's seeing him do that, and everybody's seeing these other MVP candidates kind of middling still. So of course he's going to jump up there. So.
There's a good faction of people that, because of the poor top quarterback play, that are thinking that CMC is a viable option, which he isn't for MVP. But there's people that think he is. It's like he'll probably win
Offensive Player of the Year, maybe.
Right, but not MVP.
No,
but that's because of Mahomes not playing well, Hurts, and everything you said. So, sure. I mean, hey, if you think the Vikings pull off the upset on the Chiefs to go 2-3, Kirk Cousins is lighting the fucking world on fire through the air. Just saying. I'm not taking it, but
just seeing if there's any other matchups where there's a guy in play that could change odds on a future.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence, if they beat
Trevor
the Bills,
Lawrence, if they do that could change it. Yeah.
I mean, if Hurts finally has a big game, he's gonna jump right back to the top.
He is, but they haven't really moved his odds like crazy. They're
honestly,
like...
probably the opposite of Hurts. Stafford. I mean, it's ugly, but
Stafford. I think Stafford. I mean, Stafford looked hurt at the end of that game. I'm just
advanced metric wise. A lot of people have talked about how good Stafford has been this year. But
do you believe it's
most air yards in the league?
If Cooper Kupp's coming back too.
Hope Cooper Kupp's coming back. All right, let's move on to.
Let's jump in.
Best bets.
Dan, kick us off. Actually, like before you kick us off, real quick, because Birdman, you and I were having a conversation about props and how you kind of look at some things. You said a couple things that I thought were really important. You want to tell everybody like kind of what you do with involving like fantasies, how you combine like fantasy stuff and those nerds. And
yeah,
note that I have. How do you take fantasy stuff and apply it with prop projections and make it worthwhile?
Well, when I'm deep in thought, thinking about how no one cares about my fantasy team,
no one cares about
I'm looking at no, but if I find a prop I like and I have all the reasoning for it and everything, and I know I'm going to take it. I do like to cross-reference my thought process and see I think I have like 4 or 5 fantasy projection sites and just see are my thoughts like confirm my thoughts there. If I can see, what these projections are compared to what I'm thinking, how the game goes, just really as to strengthen my opinion. I don't really use it to sway my opinion. It's something that I'm usually already ready to take. But, if all 4 or 5 of them are completely off base of what I'm thinking, it does, give me a little bit of something to think about. Like, am I missing something or, something like that. But, I don't have models and projections myself. But it's good to cross-reference other people's nerdy work, I guess you can call it. I think it's helpful.
Sam, we love you, Sam. We love all the work that you do.
Don't.
We'll just all right.
Well, with that being said, let's go to Dan here with his first bet of the week.
All right. Well, first I'm going to recap for everybody. So we went 4-5 last week. I dropped the offer that was on me. Like I said, Jamar Chase hurt me as well as everybody else.
And me.
Yeah. Well, it's not great, but we are 18-17-1 overall still, so able to overcome a down week, and we've been pretty good about bouncing back, so I'm very excited. I like everything I'm seeing across the board here, and I will kick us off with a play that you can use for Thursday Night Football tomorrow. I wanted to make sure we had something on this at least since we're doing the show beforehand and we don't often get to talk about it. I like Terry McLaurin, his longest reception over 22.5 yards. Got it from -115 on DraftKings. He's hit it in 6 of 10. And 3 of his misses over that span, he had 20, 20, and 19. So he's pretty much always in that ballpark. No matter who's at quarterback over the last couple of years, he's been incredible. I don't talk very nicely about people in the NFC East that aren't on the Eagles, but I'm a big fan of McLaurin. I think a lot of Eagles fans are. He's just really good, and his Bears defense kind of stinks. They're 20th ranked against the pass. He averages just shy of 14 per reception on any reception, so not far off this to just get that one catch. I'm not putting too much into Thursday Night Football, but I like this Terry McLaurin over 22.5 for his longest reception. BM, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I do like that one. The Bears also are 32nd in yards per completion too. So that's good to know.
Duh.
My first play is going back to the well here, fading the Falcons in the first half. I'm going Texans first half, plus a half, -115 was on like DraftKings MGM. It's pretty widely available. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Falcons now 0-9 in their last 9 first half ATS. They continue to be horrific in the first half, averaging 4.8 first half points per game. That's tied for 30th in the league. The Texans have some momentum coming off of that thrashing of Pittsburgh at home. Falcons coming off that disastrous London trip, and they're still trotting Ritter out there. Fuck Ritter. Ritter has been better at home in his short career, but again, he's never covered a first half spread. Texans 9th in first half points per game allowed, only allowing 3.5 on the road. I do trust this Texas team more in the first half, but I prefer to avoid the second half kind of shenanigans when two lower level teams kind of match up in the game here. Falcons defense is tied for 7th in second half points per game allowed. Their defense has been just decently solid even last week against the Jags, but I think the Texans come out here and outpace them in the first half. So give me Texans first half plus a half.
Yes. Well, I like your way of thinking on that game because I got my first play is also in that game. Similar angle, but I'm going to take the Falcons team total under 21.5. The Houston's defense has steadily improved as we thought it would. They've gone from 14th to 12th to 6th weekly rating on defensive DVOA, which obviously is within its vacuum of that week. But look, they're absolutely improving. Falcons, while both last games have been on the road, they've been held under 10 points. But look, this team, they're bad offensively. They're bad in the red zone. They turn the ball over. They're bottom in tackles for loss. They don't get yards. They're bottoms in YPP. They bottom in sacks allowed. It's not a team that's able to score points well. And I like the direction of where this Texans team is going. So give me the Falcons to be held under 3 touchdowns at 115. Dan, what are you thinking about?
All right, my next play here, unfortunately, stays in the NFC East. I always have this thing where all my bets seem to be in the same division, and people I don't even think I like that much. But I'm going with CD Lamb over 66.5 receiving yards. Again, minus 115 on DraftKings. The Niners are 3rd against the run, but 17th against the pass. They are a great defense, so I think Dallas is going to have to throw. He's coming off back-to-back bad games after hitting this in 7 of his previous 8 before the last 2. So due for a potential bounce back, he is their number 1 receiver, guy that Dak leans on. Dallas will have to throw. Over his last 18 games, he's hit this 13 times, and over that span, he averages 84 yards per game.
That's solid.
We had a bet for him to have 10 touchdowns, and he's way behind that right now. I think he has 0.
Yeah. Do we have him? I don't know if I do. I might have him in. Oh no, we have him to lead the league.
Oh yeah, only that.
You guys may have also tailed me. I think at least Adam may have tailed me. I don't know if you tailed me on 8 games of 100 plus. I think he has 1 or 2 already.
Oh, okay.
He's getting the yard. I mean, that's a low yard total. That's a lot of respect to a San Francisco team that gives up a lot of explosive yards to receivers at times.
And Brandon Cooks really hasn't looked good, but I know Berg, you have one to stay in the NFC East, right?
Do I? Yes, I do. So I was just, let's go with we always have a birds play. Eagles are playing at the Rams. I almost flew out for this game because I have to be in Vegas next week, but Eagles Rams under 50.5, 105. I do lean the birds in this game, but this is more about the total. Eagles have gone under this number, but the road games, Rams went over this in their one home game, but that was because Sean McVay is a ATS GOAT and decided to cover at the last minute with a field goal. Rams though 7-3 to the under in the last 10. Eagles are 6-4 to the under in the last 10. This line blew up right away, and it's pretty high for an Eagles team that we've seen take advantage in second halves to do that, but generally speaking, the offense still seems to sputter. So give me the under in this game in LA.
Yeah, I mean the Rams have had some issues up front on the offensive line. So I mean, Aaron Donald has been wrecking. He's the same Aaron Donald of past few years. So if the D lines can cause havoc, I could definitely think that's a good point towards the under as well. I'll go with my second one here. I have the Cardinals first half plus 2.5. You can get that minus 110 points bet, or I even do like plus 1.5 minus 107 on Bet Rivers if you don't have PointsBet. Cardinals are 3-1 in the first half ATS, 2-0 at home, coming off a tough divisional game versus great 49ers defense. Bengals 0-4 first half ATS this season. They're completely out of sorts, as we've talked about. They just can't do anything right. Cards 7th in first half points per game, averaging 16. That average jumps to 20.5 at home. Bengals 30th in first half points per game at 4.8 and 1.5 on the road. Even last year, though, the Bengals were a phenomenal second half team. We bet them quite a bit second half money line when they were trailing. They always started off slow in first halves. Cardinals this year have built some leads and they crumbled. I don't know if that's partly a tank, partly because opposing talent wins out at quarterback over Dobbs. But say what you want about Gannon, but surprisingly he gets his guys ready to play this year. They're 6th in first half time of possession. Bengals are 24th in the same stat. We talk about how bad the Bengals have been. Higgins has a fractured rib. If he plays, I can't imagine he's effective. I don't really want to bet against a desperate Burrow and Chase for the full game versus a Bengals defense that I just said, turns it up in the second half. So I do like the Cardinals first half against the spread. And like Dan alluded to earlier, nice double result sprinkle on the Cardinals money line, or Cardinals first half money line. Bengals win the game probably around 7-8-1, something like that. So it's not a bad look either. But give me the Cardinals. They are who we thought they were.
Oh yeah, man, dude, I remember that.
That's what it is with the Bengals, really. They're frauds.
It was a very different team. Dan, what do you got?
Well, if we're saying whatever we want about Gannon as being implied, then fuck him. I don't care what you say. He can rot in hell forever as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so I have a Eagles play as well, which probably surprises nobody. But rare for me to go kicker prop. But Jake Elliott over 7.5 kicking points, even money on DraftKings. It's hitting 5 straight. Over that span, he's averaging 11.4. It's hitting 8 of 10. Over that span, he averages 10.2. This Rams defense doesn't force turnovers. They're 28th. I know you mentioned Aaron Donald being that guy, but they are 26th in sacks. So they're not getting pressure. They're not forcing turnovers. So I think there will be points. They are the 26th worst defense as far as stopping teams in the red zone or red zone conversion percentage, basically. So this Eagles offense, even though everybody's talking about, they don't look as good as they did last year, I mean, it's 4 weeks in. They're winning every game. They're scoring a lot of points still, even if it's not pretty. So I do think that they will score a lot. I know Adam was on the total under, so maybe I don't buy the Rams as much, but I definitely think the Eagles are going to get theirs, and Jake Elliott will be a part of that. It's also I know that Sirianni is one of the more aggressive coaches and goes for it and whatnot, but early in the season he's been a lot better about taking 3 when they can. The examples of him being like overly aggressive and not really kicking really shined more in the playoffs last year and stuff like that. So I think that early on he's not gonna be going away from Jake Elliott as often. So give me the point, 7.5 even money on DraftKings. Birdman, what's your last one?
My last play, another first half, 3 first halves for me this week. I am yet again fading the Colts in the first half, taking the Titans first half money line. You can get that -120 on Bet Rivers. The Colts are 3-4. They were 3-14 first half last year, 1-7 at home last year. They're 0-2 at home this year. Vrabel does a pretty good job prepping his guys. They were 7-2 first half ATS on the road last year. Both teams like to run the ball, and both are top 10 in yards per rush allowed. But I do like the way that DeAndre Hopkins has been playing, moving the chains. He's turned up his production as of late. I do expect him to do enough in the first half to have the lead here. Surprisingly, the Titans' offense is 14th in first half points per game, and their defense is tied for 10th in first half points per game allowed. Colts are 21st in first half points per game, but they are tied for 30th in first half points per game allowed at home. So I do trust Vrabel more in this spot. But again, 2 bad teams. I don't want to avoid the shenanigans of the second half. Just give me the team that I think will be more prepared. So Titans first half money line -120 Bet Rivers.
I got to play within that game. I'm sticking them on the other side, but I think it's similar game scripts and just taking advantage of some things with the Titans. I like Michael Pittman. We're gonna call this a step stool, not really a ladder. His receiving yards over 57.5, and then over 70 at plus 140, a little bit of a sprinkle there. Titans have been giving up crazy yards in production to wide receiver ones specifically,
except Jamar Chase.
No, well, 7 for 73. We'll call it. We'll call it a high mid. 7 for 116 to Amari Cooper, 8 for 111 to Keenan Allen, 8 for 112 to Chris Olave. Look, they're giving up at least 70 yards to every single wide receiver one. Richardson at his highest QBR so far of his young concussed career versus the Rams. Yards per attempt was up. Obviously, some of that came in the garbage time where they came back. What's that?
What's that? 2 games?
3 games. 2 games. 2 games. No, 3. So look, I think is that for me, it was just like he improved as a passer in the last game. I think it's a good matchup for this. I like Michael Pittman quietly is a 1,000-yard receiver, 100 catch guy. So give me this when his receptions come out. I'm definitely going to like that, especially if this goes the way that we think it will. So Michael Pittman over 57.5 receiving yards.
Richardson did make some pretty incredible throws in the last game, even ones that didn't connect, but with Aaron Donald wrapped all around him and stuff. But I do think I think that's a good play.
Our Colts.
Our Colts.
Our Colts. Did we each do 3? Did you do 3?
Yep.
I did 3.
Yeah,
did you do 3?
Now we go to the best segment in all of podcasting, looking for a sponsor for anyone listening.
Thanks, boys. This will be short because I want to watch a Phillies game. Last night I went to game 1 of the Phillies. What do you even call this? Because this is a wild card round. Sure, okay. You're muted, so don't even bother. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm feeling good. I'm having a good time, and I thought about maybe buying some apparel. And I don't get to a lot of playoff games other than Sixers losing in the second round over the last 8 years when I had season tickets, which I'm out on that now. But anyway, the point of this is that I go into the store. My buddy is a season ticket holder who has a discount too. So I'm like, okay, little discount action. Better than, buying from that scumbag company, the Fanatics. And sorry, but like they can't sponsor this, so I don't care. They're not allowed. I won't be a part of anything that they were a part of. Michael Rubin can expletive deleted. Anyway, point is, go in, looking at a regular red and white Phillies hat, and the only difference between this and a normal Phillies hat is the side has a patch that says postseason 2023. This hat was $45 for a playoff hat. And, I'm sorry, playoff gear is a scam. And maybe, we're not even one of the most, winningest cities as far as sports go. We generally don't. The Phillies have only made the playoffs, 12 times ever? Something like that. They have the most losses of, any professional team there is. Something like that. The Flyers have been a poverty franchise for pretty much since, 1974. The Sixers have always stunk. And the Eagles are, finally good for the first time ever, the last, 15, 20 years after just decades of being abysmal. So why am I going to buy a piece of gear that just says we made the playoffs? If I lived in, Tampa Bay, maybe that would be cool. If I lived in Indiana, maybe that would be cool. Oh, I made the playoffs. That's fun. No, because you know what's going to happen is the Phillies are going to go to the World Series. Then we're going to buy another round of memorabilia that says I went to the World Series. So, postseason gear is for losers. You're an absolute loser. I'm sorry. If you're happy that you made it there, it's not enough. I'm happy I made it there, but I have expectations to win. And even if I don't, I need to get to that point, and I'll buy that stuff. I'm good wearing an Eagles Super Bowl hat, even when they lost to the Patriots or even the one losing to the Chiefs. I would wear that memorabilia, but I'm not wearing a 2008 Eagles playoff shirt when they lost in the NFC Championship game to Arizona. So playoff gear is a ripoff. It's for losers. Don't buy it. Let's kick this trend of just giving these teams, buying the same shirt you bought in the regular season where they slap one different thing on it and being like, yay, here's $55. No, fuck that. Save your money. Use it to buy good seeds. Use it to buy beer. Use it to buy food. Use it to do anything else but buy this garbage.
That was a good one. I was looking at you in the monitor and lost in your eyes. Actually, that was it was Pretty well done. And it reminds me that, like, remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and, like, the gear that was, you're 100% right, because the gear that was, hey, we won the NFC versus the gear that was like, hey, the Eagles won the Super Bowl is the exact same thing, but like one letter.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, let me ask you this, though. If that hat was the normal price of a hat, would you buy it?
I mean, that pretty much is the normal price of a hat, but that's what I'm saying. It's just,
but
it's
I mean,
so
like,
messed
you
up.
know, if it was like a $25 hat somewhere at Modell's and one of them had postseason, one of them didn't, would you?
If you can find a $25 hat, sure, maybe. But
that's beside the price point aside. If it's affordable,
but the price point's the point.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
If you were like, hey, Dan, you want to buy this Phillies 2023 playoff hat for $20? Yeah, throw $20 at anything. I'll set $20 on fire right now.
Please don't. We're strictly against burning money on this show.
I mean, you know, if you follow my bets, that's apparently.
Hold on, wait. How many Broncos bets do you have? Like, we're talking about
don't answer
money.
that.
Like,
as your lawyer, don't answer that.
We're about stacking money, not burning on this show.
Well, I stack so much I can afford to burn it. Anyway,
that's
I'm getting sick of us.
It's now time for the
what are you gonna call it?
What are we gonna call it? Well,
it's not fistful of TDs.
It's not fistful of TDs. It's
toilet bowl Thursday.
Of props for tomorrow's Thursday night football game.
It's I'd rather get fisted than watch this game.
Fisted and watch. Yeah, actually, get fisted and watch this toilet bowl. We're gonna put together an SGP for this. Birdman, why don't you kick us off and build it for us? You got a guy that you like.
Well, yeah. Why don't you?
By the way, Bohm got a double. So we're all rich.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first bet of the for this, well, my only bet for this game actually is Sam Howell over 12.5 rushing yards. It actually jumped to 13.5 for the parlay here. So I still like it. Hitting 4 or 5 career starts, averaging over 23 rushing yards a game. His one miss was 11 yards week 1. Career high 6 rush attempts last week versus the Eagles. Bears don't really get pressure, so that is a concern, but Washington's ranked 31st in sack percentage allowed. So I do think this is a dream matchup for their defensive line to kind of get right. And I think he's going to be running. You know, any quarterback that has a tendency to run a little bit or scramble, when the primetime lights come on, there's always an element of hero ball. So I like him to go over that 13.5 rushing yards for the parlay. You also like a rushing prop on that team, right?
I do. I like Brian Shotgun Robinson. They call him Shotgun.
Oh, no.
Shot.
Many men.
You know what? He had 60 yards first game back from getting shot against these Bears. So, Shotgun Rob, over 70 yards rushing. Look, the Bears rushing defense is atrocious, and the line is at 63.5, but he never gets in the 60s. So for a little bit of extra plus, why don't we make it 70? Because he either gets it under that or he gets 70 something. Give him let's do the 70 plus. It's plus 120, plus 130,
plus 104 on FanDuel here now. But
well, it's higher on DraftKings, but neither sponsor us, so they can.
Yeah, that's true.
Good help.
Well, you're just sharp, so it makes sense.
We're all sharp.
That's right.
All right, I'll close it out, I guess. I couldn't do the play that I wanted, so I had to dig, and I actually think I like this more. Washington's team total under 13.5 points in the first half, minus 115. The Bears, as bad as they are, have only let one team score more than this in a first half so far, and that was the Chiefs, who dropped 27 on them in the second quarter alone for a 34-point first half. But that's the Chiefs, and it's the one time this season they decided to look like the Chiefs. So I don't think, I'm trying to give Washington all their credit, I don't think they're the Chiefs. So I feel pretty confident that on this crappy short week Thursday night game, that at least for the first half, the Bears can slow them down respectably, keep that number down. So I was surprised to see that number that high. So I'm very confident in Washington under 13.5. So, of course, they'll score 21.
Well, they also, one, played a tough divisional game on the road, and two, went to overtime. So, you know, I totally...
And Riverboat Ron, didn't go for 2 because his team was too tired. So, if they were tired,
they would have been... It doesn't make any sense because they would have then played overtime and been tired.
Yeah.
Like, that guy... Remember what he didn't know? He didn't know last year that they got eliminated from the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how
it's like we pay our D-line $85 million, but they're too tired to do this.
I feel like Jeff Fisher just like stole his soul and is using his body.
Oh, that's a good. I like that theory. I like that theory a lot.
The
Rich Kotite is pulling the strings.
The 3-leg parlay or same game parlay has odds of plus 758 on FanDuel.
I thought JT went yard again.
I like it.
Plus 758. There is a 50% boost on FanDuel. If you decide to use that, it gets it over 11-1. Pretty solid odds in my opinion. Either way, whether you boost it or not. But we gotta get one of these. Watch, it'll be the first SGP or touchdown parlay, whatever that we get going
in this
disgusting game.
We only got to get one, guys.
I mean, think
everyone
about
remembers us. Everyone remembers us as legends the rest of our lives.
And then we can sell our Discord.
It's just hilarious as football fans. Like this last week,
we can tweet out 100 likes and like heard it in the Discord hashtag.
This last week, everyone's like, "Oh, we got the toilet bowl Broncos versus Bears," and then they somehow made this Thursday night game even worse. I mean, listen, Broncos Bears ended up being somewhat.
I mean, their game that they played
fun.
last year was bad. This can't be worse than that.
That's true. I mean, the Bears offense did kind of get going last week, but then they crashed and burned. So I do like that. Dan, you want to recap the best bets?
Yeah, I got you guys. Again, so mentioning that we are still above 500 on the season, thankfully, at 18-17-1 overall, but it was a 4-5 week last week, thanks to me. Birdman's on an absolute heater, 3-0 last week, 9-2-1 on the season for him. So me and Adam have some work to do, but we'll get to that this week. Our plays this week, my three. First one, Terry McLaurin, over 22.5 for his longest reception. CeeDee Lamb, over 66.5 receiving yards. And Jake Elliott, over 7.5 kicking points. I love that they specify that as if you shouldn't if he runs one in, I should get credit for that. That's absolute bullshit that they specify that it's kicking points. I just want that on record. Birdman's plays are the Texans' first half spread plus 0.5 point. The Cardinals' first half spread plus 2.5 on PointsBet or plus 1.5 on Bet Rivers, depending on what you have. And his third pick is the Titans' first half money line. So living off these first half bets, Titans first half money line minus 120. And Berg's top three plays. First one is the Eagles-Rams total being under 50.5. You can get that on FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever. You can get his second pick, the Falcons team total of under 21.5 at minus 115 on MGM. And lastly, Michael Pittman on our system against the Titans defense that did not work out for me. Unfortunately, we go back to the well. Over 57.5 yards at minus 110, and also the step stool play of taking 70 plus at plus 140.
We're gonna make step stool a thing.
I love it.
I like it because there's another step stool that I'm doing for Brian Robertson. He has only gotten over 100 yards once, so
the rule has to be it's only one leg up.
It's
right?
one or two legs, yeah. So I took him for 70 and I took him for 80. That's a step stool.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess step stool could be 3. I'll give you that. Anything beyond that is definitely not a step stool.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right, so we usually do this and nobody's prepared for it, and I certainly am not. But we'll go around the horn here. Adam, give us your final thoughts and one word.
One word. Raise.
BM.
Okay. I'm gonna go with disgusting. Just for the mere fact that the Thursday night game is just gross.
I'm going to go for himbo.
Okay, wait. Can I petition to have one more word?
I mean, it's your show, dude.
You always have multiple words. So
multiple bets, multiple words.
It's funny you say that. It is going to be 2 words in one, and it's just Red October.
Yeah.
One word.
That's what I couldn't pick between the two.
Birdman official show plays, and then the unofficial Patreon plays of 300 plays.
Red October.
All right, so everybody, now that we've got Twitch figured out, appreciate everybody that tunes in on there. So the show format will, officially be as we hoped it would be. Live on Twitch. We'll tweet out every week when that is. It'll probably rotate between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So make sure you're following us on all socials to get that information as soon as it's available. All our social media is at Bird and Berg. Show live on Twitch. You can watch the VOD, I think, for up to a week. But we will have it on YouTube, and that will be available there forever. So if you need to catch the replay, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. It will also be available as a podcast. We are now on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify Podcasts. You can find us on either one. On Apple, please make sure to like, subscribe, use a 5-star rating and review. I'm not sure that Spotify does that or that their algorithm really cares. So much more important than Apple. So even if you don't use it, if you have it, help us out. We would greatly appreciate it. For Bird and Berg, I am your host, DM. Oh my God, who just?
And we're ending on a grand slam by Stott.
Get out of here!
Did you just do it?
Damn, yeah, Adam, you called it. Oh.
After I said to you, should we bet Stott?
I know.
No.
I said I wasn't on it. Bad night for people I don't bet. All right. That just means I'm due for football. So tell my plays. I promise. I'll be better.
That was awesome.
I promise I'll be better.
That was the best.
All right. See you guys later. Thank you so much.
Thanks for